So, with the white pieces, let's see what we play. E5, great. So, we're just going to play this normally. Knight f3, g3, and the bishop g2, d3, all of these things. Normal setup. And we're okay with allowing moves like d5 and even d4. We're opting for a little bit less space, but pretty much just going for King's Indian, where we are kind of a tempo up. Maybe I should have played d3 a move ago. This is an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Because maybe I have to take it now. I don't know if I want to take it, but maybe I should. The problem for me is I don't want to. I want to play d3. But I don't know if they're going to take on e4 or not. We could allow this. It's not the worst thing in the world to allow. But it's definitely not the best either. Knight c3 is interesting. If d4, we can just go knight e2. Oh, that's not knight e2. Knight e2. Knight c3, d4, and then knight e2. But if knight c3 and they take, and we take, and then f5 or something, I don't know if we're happy about that either. Maybe we should play d3 and allow a potential endgame. I'll allow the endgame if we really need to. So that actually teaches us something, because this is still something new to me. Now we could avoid the endgame, or we can go knight d2. Both kind of avoid the endgame though, which is good. I like knight d2 here. It doesn't get us out of the pin, but we don't really need to worry about that. Right? The whole thing is we have to worry about moves of bishop g4 and these knight d4s coming in combination. But it doesn't really work out. Like, they can't play like takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight d4. We just play queen d1. And sure, like, we had to play queen d1, but they will also lose some time after we play c3. So they just go for it immediately. I like this move, bishop g2. I also like c3. I'm going to go bishop g2. This is just trying to cover the square as much as I possibly can. Right? When you're not sure what to do, when your opponents are asking you difficult questions, it's just best to develop. So that's the plan here. If I can castle, I would actually really love to. That's one of the big things on my mind in this position. I don't really want to trade my light square bishop for nothing. So if they take on f3 and I take with the bishop and they take, why did I fianchetto? If not to create weaknesses for myself. So I'm much more interested in making a move like castles. And also with this queen d6, they're defending their e5 pawn, but after castles, they're going to castle long maybe. Do I play a move like c3? Or do I play a move like h3? I think I might play a move like h3. So that's castle. I think this is a great start to our position. And if they play something like queen f6, well, d5 does hang. d5's hanging, by the way. It is able to be taken. I just don't know how much I want to take it. And we should definitely look at the move orders. Again, the King's Indian is something that I'm very new to. So there's going to be some mistakes here and there. At least with opening move orders and making sure that we can maintain our ability to get a King's Indian attack, that is, in a correct manner. So, gotta be careful. I'm happy. So now I really want to take. I want to open up this diagonal because the bishop will hopefully become more pronounced because of it. So I really do like the idea of capturing here. Ooh, hello, cat. Okay, the kitty came to join. What are you doing? What are you doing? May I help you? No, he just wants to play with the screens. Okay. Hopefully he doesn't do any permanent damage. But he's known for that, this one. Okay, you need to go. That cat likes to trade a ruckus. I got a Switch this Christmas. Very exciting. I've been playing that lately. And that very cat that jumped on my desk there likes to attack Mario in the game that I'm playing. So that's annoying. So if they take again, I'm very happy about this. So one thing to know about the King's Indian attack is sometimes there's like a little bit of a space difference or imbalance where, well, if we look at just the difference of the pawns, their pawns are actually a little bit more centralized than ours. And we can kind of claim that we have less space because of that. But as more pieces come off, the space imbalance matters a lot less. And, well, now I think we're in good shape in this position. So that is nice to be able to admit. Like, if knight takes and bishop takes, there could be some problems showing up. I do like knight takes knight. They have to take with the queen, and then I can play bishop e3, and both pieces are developed. If you notice that, knight takes d4, queen takes because the queen is hanging, bishop e3, and I don't really care that b2 hangs. And there's a tactical reason why, but it doesn't even really matter that it's a tactical reason. It's just a very good idea when we see that there's opposite side castling. We're just focusing on development, and if they want to go pawn grubbing with the move queen takes b2, they can. So I think this is correct, and it looks like black's going to run into some problems now after bishop to e3. So I mentioned before that there's tactical problems with queen takes b2, and the problem is b7 behind it is actually very weak. And the difference is, if we open up the queen side or the king side, who does it favor to open up which side? Well, the king side, if that opens up, it should favor black, whereas the queen side, if that opens up, which it now will because of queen takes b2, it heavily favors me, because that's where their king is. And after rook to b1, b7's falling, and their king is going to be extremely weak after bishop takes b7 here. So if they go king to b8, I have bishop to d5 check, winning their queen. So they actually have to go king to c6. And that's not really something they want to do because their king is stuck in the center. And I'm just looking to open things up after that with a move like d4. d4 looks extremely strong. I like d4 quite a bit. If they take, then I can take with my queen, and I'm down a pawn in this position, but the pawn is not felt. The only way a pawn could be felt in a position where we're down one is when there's not other imbalances really shown. Here, there's a ton of imbalances, and the big imbalance is more of a strategical one. It's king safety. So, and we have the bishop here too, in an open position. This is totally winning at this point. Now, I think queen e5 should get the job done. But we should try to be a little accurate. So I like queen e5 check. They have to block. They don't have to block. They can go king d7, but I bring another rook in. So queen e5 check, queen e6, and then I'm looking at bishop c5. So I like queen e5 check to start. This looks like a very strong move. Queen e6, and then I'll go bishop c5 check. And I'll probably just move my queen. Because if their queen goes to e6, the problem is, yeah, we never want to trade here. Trading would actually completely benefit black because, well, whoever has the weaker king, generally the queen trade will favor them. So keeping queens on is actually very important for me. Do I need to play bishop c5, or should I actually play queen to c3? I'm favoring queen to c3 a little bit because this makes bishop c5 check and rook e1 a little bit more concealed, where it's a little bit more likely for them to miss the threat here. So bishop c5 followed by rook e1 or maybe even some sort of rook d1. Looks like it will be winning in this position. Knight e4 or knight d5 doesn't matter. I'm thinking of taking it, going bishop c5 and rook e1. If they take on h3, that pawn is way out of bounds and not really relevant to the position. So do I take on d5 or do I not take on d5? It's a good question. I like taking on d5 because this removes another defender of their king, and also, most importantly, it just removes the threat against my queen, where it renews moves like rook to e1 in the position. Now, I'm not even sure if I want to play bishop c5 check anymore. Like, immediately, that is. I'm thinking of just going rook e1, and the threat is just there. I'm threatening bishop c5. So sometimes when you're playing and you're not really sure, like, oh, bishop c5 check, and you're looking for the next check, what if you just play a move like rook e1 where the check is not really avoidable anyways? Because if they go king d7 or king d6, then rook d1 will just win their queen because they're on alignment with their queen there, which will favor us greatly. And yeah, they're still up a pawn, and now there's no material imbalances of the knight versus bishop. We had the bishop pair before, but again, the king safety imbalance is so much more important here. And this pawn on a7, what is it doing for their position? Nothing at all. So that's good to know for us. Even if they can bring their king to something like a8 here. Yeah, so now I'm looking at moves like bishop to g5, and I'm also looking at moves like bishop to c5 check, as well as queen takes c7 check, winning a pawn. I like winning pawns. Because, yeah, when we get our material balance back, that would be great. They might be planning some sort of rook e6 here, which is why I want to give a double check of some sort, like bishop g5 check. But then what's their next move? Maybe they go king d7, and it's actually kind of unclear what my next move should be. So I'm fancying moves more like bishop f4. Or bishop c5, which also prevent rook e6 because it's pinned. Queen takes c7 isn't just to take a pawn, actually. It's asking the king where it wants to go. Maybe it goes to f6, and I don't know how happy I am about that. So bishop b6 check is also promising. The idea is if rook e6, I then take on c7 with check here. And if king f6, I don't know if bishop d4 check works there. There's a lot of promising moves. Bishop c5 check is a guaranteed win of material. I don't know how important that material is in a position like this, though. And that's why I'm starting to think more of moves like rook b8. Even rook b7 doesn't look silly, but it also kind of does, because I don't know if we can get enough from that sacrifice. I'm going to avoid that. That seems like a silly idea. I might just take this pawn. Because if they go king f6... If they go king f6... Do I just go back? To c3? But then they go king g6. Yeah, I don't want to allow them to get out. So I think I'm just going to go for the exchange, actually. With bishop to c5 with check. Bishop c5 check, winning the exchange. These pawns will inevitably fall. Winning the exchange is good here. I'm just worried that my attack will run out of steam. I'm more interested in maintaining an attack and also winning material. And that's an important thing to mention also, is sometimes you have to, as a stronger player, know when to trade an attack for material or material for an attack, right? You always hear of, a pawn sacrifice or a queen sacrifice for attacks. But sometimes it's harder to do the other thing, which is, well, sorry, this is maybe rook b8 check just to throw the move in. This doesn't look like it would hurt. Sometimes it's just good to throw in, or no, sometimes, okay, let me just reset. It's also good to know when to trade your material or your attack for material. So if you can win like an exchange or even a full piece, that can be enough to win the game, right? So now I'm going to take on d6. They can't take with the bishop because I win the rook in the corner. If they take with the pawn, then queen c8 will be checkmate, I believe. So they have to take with the queen. That's correct, yeah. And now it feels like there's got to be something really, really close here. I'm looking at moves like rook e3 to d3, and that's it. Even queen c4 doesn't look stupid, trying to get on the light squares. And the reason why is because queen f7 looks scary. If they block with anything, they lose material. And queen b5 check could be a threat. Yeah, I really like this move, queen c4. It doesn't look like much, but it looks also very strong at the same time. It's a quiet move. If c6 or something, I'm going to be taking on f7. There's a lot of threats in the position, so I don't know how they deal with it all. I was also thinking rook e8. I just thought I'm not going to even allow them a single check on the back rank there. And now that I'm covering more light squares as well, I could actually consider a move like rook e8. So do I play queen b5 check here? Queen b5 check, where did they go? If they go queen c6, I have rook d8 check winning the queen. If they go king c7, which is, I think, the only other move, then queen b7 will be checkmate. So it looks like queen b5 check is finally going to win the house. Actually, queen c6, a better move might be rook d1 check first. Maybe. King c7, rook c8 check. So then I can take the queen with check. Oh, wait. There might be bishop d6 in that case. So yeah, let's just play rook d8 check. Just be solid. And the thing is, you might think, okay, king c7. Then I play rook to c8 check anyways, right? And then I'm winning the queen because that's a skewer. So yeah, I play rook to c8 check here. And since they're in check, they can't do anything about the fact that, our queens are staring at each other here. Now they have to take. I can take on c6. And it's actually checkmate next move with a rook to e8. And they resign. So I think there were some definite mistakes in here. Let me find out where they lie. So g3, yeah, maybe this wasn't the right approach. I had to go d3 first. I'm curious. So the reason why I think d3 might have had to have been first is just because if they play a move like knight f6 and d5, I really want to make sure that my knight's already here and this d5 isn't hurting me, where I can play a move like g3 and then just go for my regular King's Indian attack. Let's see here. Bishop g2. It's funny that the engine's evaluating it as this much worse, because I don't see the immediate problems in the position yet. Because we're going to castle next move. Let's try to work that out in a little bit. So if I were to go to the opening explorer instead, and we see the move d3. d3's been played a fair amount. Knight f6. Bishop e2 is generally played. I'm really interested in this g3 though. So I'm checking the opening explorer at this moment. d5. Knight bd2. It looks like this has been played in several master games despite having not maybe the most favorite view. Like it seems like the engine doesn't exactly love this. But I don't mind this position, which is very interesting. Most games go bishop c5, but de4, de4, and then bishop c5. Bishop to g2. If castles... Ooh, if castles... Oh, no. They castle. I was wondering why I wasn't castling there. Castles. Now we just transpose. Yeah. So it looks like this is fine. White has pretty okay results in master games. Bishop e7 is the most played move. And then it immediately goes to slightly better for white. I don't know why that would be the best move. Something like a5 feels a bit more natural. But generally, these are the positions I feel like we would be happy to play as white in the King's Indian. Just because you get this imbalanced structure. They do have an active bishop here, which could cause some damage at some point, but for now it looks totally fine. We could play a move like a4, rook e1, queen e2, or c2, depending on where we want to bring the piece. Move like maybe even h3. And yeah, we have the standard development that we normally get. So going back here, g3, d5. I should take it, actually. I shouldn't do what I did of playing d3. Now, what I was actually expecting here was this situation of bishop g4, bishop e2. But there's some problems here. They can castle. And they can also try moves like knight d4. But ultimately, I didn't know how bad this would end up. This is something we do have to be concerned about, though. So let's work it out. I'm actually going to check an online database here. Just give me one moment, because I think that would be useful for us. Because maybe we can switch up our move order. And there's a book I have that I think would be very useful for a situation like this. Yeah, so d3 first is a better move order. Here, d3 instead of g3. So that's kind of the start of our problems. And yeah, knight f6, g3. And it looks like, even though the computer might evaluate it as slightly worse at first, the issue is it's also an online computer, so it's harder to give it as much stock in like a theoretical like opening position. But let's continue, because I don't want to like seem like I'm trying to cope here with this type of position. So d5 and bishop c5 are the more challenging moves. d5, I'm just curious how things kind of should go here. And we should actually take this. We should be happy with taking on d5. Just go bishop g2. And the game goes on. And we just get a position like this. Okay. I'm happy with this position. All right. Good to know. So if ever d5, we probably should take it whenever we're playing against the opening e5. Great. Yeah, I think that's actually something that we can take away from and be happy with.